Hello, hello, community. Welcome, bloXmove community. Welcome to our fourth tech debate. It's kind of routine already, I would say, right, Harry? That we meet once per month for our tech debate in order to update you guys.
Hello, hello, community.
More important, not only updating you, taking your questions and really taking your questions seriously and answering to all your questions which you have related to our announcements, related to our projects, related to our technology. So first of all, my name is Sophia. I'm really happy to host this session. And as the last times, again, Harry is next to me. An honor, Harry, that you as our CTO are here tonight for answering to all the questions. Hello.
Hello, and thanks for hosting me again here and to answer some of the questions and concerns from the community. Am I heard? Hello? Sophia, I am not on mute, so...
Now I guess you can hear me.
I hear you fine. I am also not on mute. So
okay.
Do you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think I have a bit an issue with echo, and therefore I muted me, but maybe that's not a good solution. So now I muted the streaming, and hopefully it's now working.
Okay.
Yeah, so at least we see a lot of hellos and hello guys, hello community. We can hear you both. That's also amazing. So check on this side. Then again, hello, hello, and Harry, great to have you here again for Tech Debate Round 4. Questions came and we collected everything up front from the community. So we're really happy to start this session again and answering to all your questions. And for sure, we see already people live in the chat. So whenever you have a deeper dive question or another question which came up here during our discussion, please add that in the chat. And I will integrate the question in our flow. Great. So, Harry, we introduced already. I think it's not necessary to introduce you again. Everyone knows you. And therefore, I would say, let's start with a topic, right?
Please.
Cool. First question. I mean, now it's again, I think a month ago we met for round 3. So it's again a month full of development, full of steps on our tech roadmap. And therefore, my first warming up question is in maybe one sentence, key takeaway or learning. What was really special and a key takeaway for you during the last months?
Well, there's a big key away, more or less, from the ecosystem. I mean, it is impossible not to be fascinated by the Luna story, which is a general crypto lesson, has nothing to do with us directly, but I would like to say something to that. And from the specific takeaway, we went live with our investor portal in 2 steps. And the big lesson, well, was a painful lesson for us, but it's an important lesson, which was do not go live ever again on a Friday evening. So that's a big takeaway. Don't go live Friday evening. It is not good for the quality of your go live. It is not good for the mood of your team. It's not good for follow through. So even though it sounds very trivial, it hasn't got anything to do with the big story in life or in crypto. It was a lesson and we heeded it well. And then when we went live with the next phase, so we first went live with the liquidity portion of our investor portal, and then came staking, which was actually the maybe even more eagerly awaited. Liquidity had bumps, to put it that way, when we went live. Mm-hmm. Whereas when that was Friday evening, and staking was smooth sailing. Went live on a Wednesday. So from now on, going live will be in the middle of the week. We're not going to do a Friday go live again. Coming to the big lesson of things. And I do have to comment on this Luna story because it is totally fascinating. Mm-hmm. First of all, if something is too good to be true, then it is most probably not true. Everybody should always remember that lesson again and again. But the lesson to be learned from Luna, and we are in the process of doing that also, is not only what went wrong. It went wrong in the end after somebody or some people spent $1 billion or $500 million of US dollar of stress testing the one weakness in the protocol, and it failed. Yes. But there is a lot of lessons to be learned in how this ecosystem was designed from the ground up, and how it leveraged and how they designed the flywheels and how they designed the reinforcement mechanisms. So there was genius in Luna. And I only can encourage everybody, learn also what these guys did right. They were ahead in many, many ways. And just like the ICO bubble burst, but of course, ICOs came back, a lot of what Luna and this guy Do Kwon invented is going to be best practice in the future, with the addition, of course, of the necessary stopgaps to avoid the disaster, which in the end caught up with him. So that's my key takeaways over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, exciting. And we see again how dynamic everything is.
Oh yeah, Netflix. Crypto is better than Netflix, I can tell you that.
Exactly. Yeah, great. But yeah, very important also what you mentioned with regards to the team. So you guys did really an amazing job. Was really, really fantastic. And yes, some learnings. That's always the case. Good if those are learnings. Great. I would say, because again, we had a long list of questions from the community. And as we did the last time, I would say, let's start with the first questions, and all our updates we put in the entire storyline, as you know from the last tech debates. So first thing is related to staking for sure, because this was one of the hot topics when we collected the questions. And Harry, you started already to speak about the staking thing. And some people ask if we can explain again the mechanism of that single site staking. Yeah, if we can explain that a bit more in detail.
It's actually dead simple. It's essentially you stake tokens, which means you provide tokens with a certain locking period. So for staking, we do not provide rewarding if it's unlocked. So we provide rewards with a reward factor of 1, so baseline, if you stake with us for 30 days. We provide a staking if it's 90 days, half a year, and 1 year each. So those are the 4 blocks. And it gets exponentially multiplied by the factor of 1.3. So staking for 90 days gets your reward factor of 1.3. Staking for half a year gets you a reward factor of 1.3 to the power of 2. And staking for 1 year gets you a reward factor of 1.3 to the power of 3, which is about 2.1. What that means in total is we distribute the fixed rewards. So there's a fixed 25,000 K blxm tokens on both networks. So 25,000 blxm on BSC, 25,000 blxm on Ethereum, which get calculated every hour. The rewards are calculated every hour. And they are simply distributed among anybody by weight of how much you staked and multiplied. So what you stake is multiplied by the factor, which corresponds to your locking period. So if you staked 10,000 tokens for 3 months, which is the minimum, then you're getting rewards worth 10,000. If you staked 10,000 for 90 days, which is a reward factor of 1.3, then you get reward factors worth 13,000. So that's how these reward factors work. So we add up tokens times reward factor for a total amount of tokens in the pool for every hour. And then we divide 25,000 per month, break it down to the hour, and spread that evenly among the tokens that are in the pool. That's pretty much the simple version of it. One thing that should be made clear here, this is a measure that is speaking to tokenomics. So during a time when we are in a bear market, we would like to make it possible for investors to earn rewards for holding and while holding blxm. And also, it should be mentioned clear here, this is not inflationary, because if you look at the tokenomics, there is a part of the foundation being the governance organization behind this, which funds the whole ecosystem, for which we have already reduced the payout every month. So the amount of tokens that the foundation is allowed to spend. We had announced that a month ago. So we reduced it by 40% from 450,000 tokens every month to 270,000 tokens every month. So it should be very clearly understood that all the rewards for liquidity and all the rewards for token staking come out of the already released foundation tokens, which is part of what the foundation is releasing every month. So in terms of circulating supply, this is not inflationary. These are tokens that are used for reward, which are already part of circulating supply. So it's quite important, because I read a lot about usually half-informed people that keep on complaining about the tokenomics here, the tokenomics here. So the tokenomics are important, but it also helps to be informed rather than half-informed. So the reward scheme, all of the reward schemes, the 50,000 per month on each network for liquidity, and the 25,000 for staking on each, they come directly out of already released, vested foundation funds and no other. So it's the foundation essentially using the tokens to reward its community. I do hope that is understood, maybe also appreciated, but at least understood by the community.
Yes, great explanation. Thank you so much. And when it comes to the coming soon related to staking, is there something which you can add?
Yes, there will be a, I've hinted at it in a few times, we keep on calling it the smart bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be the first investor product which will speak to utility. We are going to define this as a utility. It'll go, and it will essentially be a profitable bridge scenario, profitable if or whenever, and this is happening, whenever there is a gap in the quoted prices for blxm on this network or that network, there will be an opportunity here to take profit, essentially arbitrage. We're going to build a bridge around that will allow the community to use that. And in doing that, what will happen is you will bring blxm on one side and we will hand you more blxm on the other side. So this is how we will distribute the profit here. And what we will do is on the blxm which you are bringing, we are going to burn 40% of those for the next 1 year. So as we do bridging, so you bring 100 blxm, we give you 105 if you go from the weak side to the strong side. So it will give you, for instance, 105. On the other side, from the 100 you took, we will burn 40. So we will basically set up a smart bridge, which will continuously balance, but it will also continuously balance supply and demand in the sense that it will start burning tokens on the oversupply side in order to shift them to the undersupply side. So we will not only bridge, but we're actively then going to burn a big portion of this. The precise release date, I cannot commit to that, but I can commit that it will be before August. That much is clear, but precise, we're still coding on this. It's not an easy thing to code. So I would like to avoid at this point in time to commit to a specific date. What I can commit to it will be before August.
Yes, cool. Thanks for adding that. Really exciting is coming soon. And yes, as you said, let's not speak about the exact date today, more about what's coming. And we will definitely update you, as you know, very transparently. I see one question in the chat, which is related to if we have a Twitter question part. The Twitter questions we selected before with a hashtag, and this is integrated in our question flow right now. So if you have the feeling we're not answering to your question, then the chat here is a chance to address your question. And for sure, I will integrate everything in our dialogue here, in our debate. Yeah. So just for the people who ask for a Twitter question part, right? It's not really a Twitter question part now. Yeah. I will choose one further question from the live chat because we spoke already about that, Harry, a second before, and you realized that I was really excited, and also some people are really excited in the chat about our visit at Future Move. Was really amazing that we got invited as bloXmove because, yeah, it was really, I would say, high exclusive VIPs. And I didn't expect that bloXmove is already experienced on that level, or that people think we are a CEO and CTO are on a stage with Ashton Kutcher, Will I Am. But this was amazing because when people ask here for exactly that, I show you the picture. I don't know if you can see it right now, but it was really real. I met Will I Am, and yeah, he's amazing. Same like Ashton Kutcher, he was also there as, I would say, really as enthusiast and spokesperson when it comes to blockchain technology. And they invest in that topic. And also on the stage, Will I Am said, really, O-tone, he said that blockchain is, from his point of view, the technology of the future, already present, but more important on the future of the future. And for sure, we quoted him. And this was also my hook, why I got this picture, because then we started a dialogue around that topic. So really interesting. I don't know if we have a deeper relation in future, but it was definitely an exciting moment and also a good support. And yeah, also for us, the proof of we are really in the right field and in the right direction, go in the right direction. And same question you ask here was related to if we have outcomes of new partnerships from this event. And I can definitely say yes, but I cannot speak about the names right now, because as you know, from all our work with B2B parties, we need to come really to a description of a scope of a project, then some agreements, like often we use letter of intents or memorandum of understandings or really contracts. And before we have not something like that in place, I cannot drop names. So just that you know this, but it's exciting. And yes, more and more very precise partnerships with mobility or transport operators, let's call them like that. So it was exciting and successful for us. And as you know, and also we told you last time, this is for sure something we focus on our marketing strategy, presence on events like tech events. Viva Tech, right, Harry, is one of the next big things in Europe. Also some blockchain events. You visited the Amsterdam-based event in Amsterdam. So we show our presence, and that's amazing right now with all the in-persona meetings that we have the chance to speak a bit more and show how cool we are. So thanks for asking this question. One of the next question also on Twitter was related to Nigeria, for sure. We announced the story, and it's a really exciting story. And this is, Harry, maybe for you, the next question. If you can explain a bit more about the status in Nigeria right now, and also some, first of all, really great success points, but maybe also some hurdles we see right now.
Well, first of all, anybody who's got access to Nigeria company registry, please look for Decentralized Mobility Limited. That's us. So that's the company we founded as the parent company for bloxmove.ng, Decentralized Mobility, because we like to give our companies the names of what we do. The platform continues to be bloXmove Nigeria, bloxmove.net, bloxmove.com, but in Europe, we are Power and Mobility Limited, and in Nigeria, we are Decentralized Mobility. And the company is in existence as of Monday, the 16th of May. So congratulations to us and to Nigeria, here we come. So the administrative parts of it, so a bank account is coming, hopefully. I was told within the next 2 weeks, there'll be a bank account so we can pay local salaries in Nigeria. There is 3 local people already active, 2 in the north, so 2 from the Hausa side of things, 1 from the south, from the Yoruba side of Nigeria, 3 in Nigeria. We have another Nigerian locally here in Germany with us, who's also from the Yoruba speaking community. And in general, the team is now on the ground setting up. The first flyers, the first business development talks, the first specific partners are in second level in second level discussions already. There is also some investors who got to know us through Telegram, who approached first you, Sophia, and then us, and they've been in contact now with the Nigeria team. They have basically committed to some deliverables, and we're hopeful, we'll see, but we're hopeful then that will give us another kind of reach. In terms of development, the coding for the Nigeria 2 offering, so we will address intra-city, meaning within the city ride hailing. So keke, tricycles, keke, they're called, as I've learned, in Nigeria, as well as taxi or hail a car within the city, and then the much bigger market of intercity busing. So those will be the two modes we will mainly address. And we are working on the on-ramping and off-ramping now. That's also a question that will be asked often. In Nigeria, things tend to be less regulated than in Germany, which is a good thing. But of course, no country in the world likes total chaos when it comes to anything they perceive as money or currency. So you have to go through on-ramping, off-ramping, which means if people give you Naira, but internally you use token, or if you give people tokens and they want Naira, this has to be on-ramped, meaning local currency Naira to token, or off-ramped, token to Naira, in a legal, compliant, and regulated way according to your host country. And therefore, the step which we are working on now, we've approached Celo on this. They are specializing on this, actually. We hope that Celo can assist. But in either way, over the next 4 to 6 weeks, we need to find a legally authorized partner, legally authorized by Nigerian government, on-ramping and off-ramping, and then we're set to go. The development has started. I would expect the first friendly closed loop launch to be in the next 2 months. That will not be visible to anybody. It'll be carefully chosen local individuals in Nigeria in order to test drive this. And I would hope that the initial launch of the MVP will be late summer, early autumn this year for Nigeria. And feel free to reach out in the Telegram groups, all three all three local. And there's actually a fourth one. I won't mention his name. It begins with a T. You know who I speak about, Sophia, who is possibly going to join us as well, or also locally present in Nigeria. So all of them are in our Telegram group. So you will find that as you ask questions about it, it's not only going to be me answering, you will find others answer. And a good chance is that half of those answers will come from people from our Nigeria team.
Absolutely.
And they are awesome, by the way. I don't want to disclose the names yet, but we will disclose those names and we put their faces to the front. At the current time, we're still half in stealth mode, so I'm holding back on that. But in the meantime, it's an awesome team, and they are really, really, really ripping it. So they're really, really working hard and coming up with incredible ideas, which sitting somewhere in Germany, it's very hard to understand what's happening. So they're really teaching us, pulling us, and bringing us to the right places to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great thing of internationality, right? That we can address with such an amazing community, can address local markets. And it's always the best to do that with local talents. So really cool here.
This is one thing. So we all value diversity and ESG, and sometimes it's just buzzwords. And everybody has a different understanding what that may be, diversity. So one of the things that diversity is for me is that you empower those that do, which means you don't come in as a bloody colonialist into Africa and say, hey, I come from Germany, now I know how to do business and I'm going to do business my way in your country. Because A, that's arrogant, and B, actually probably won't work. So the whole way how we run the Nigeria business, it is still coming out of actually Singapore, because that's essentially where the funding comes from, and that's where the tech comes from. But the company will be run fully locally on the ground by Nigerians for Nigerians. And this is something that we will emphasize as we move along. And this is something we will emphasize in any country that we will go to. Yes, of course, the protocol is international. And yes, of course, it was founded by 3 founders who all sit at this point in time in Germany, one of them moving to Portugal relatively soon. But that is just history. As we move forward and as we run companies in individual countries, they will be locally run, locally administered and locally empowered companies, including sharing of the profit and sharing of the benefits, where a large part, definitely more than half, should stay in the country rather than leaving the country. And that is something which personally, in my non-qualified definition of what is diversity or what is fairness, is what I hold dear in running these kinds of businesses.
Absolutely. And this is maybe also a link to a question which you ask in Twitter or on Twitter, which I checked before, was also about our global strategy. I mean, now you heard a lot about Nigeria, and also someone asked a question, what's going on with Plug and Play, with Plug and Play Japan? Here for sure, we need a bit more time for an official announcement, but why we applied for that program is exactly one of the next steps, should be in the direction of Japan. We want to find out how we can, especially related to our blocks power, means our energy use cases, how we can enter in this market, have, I would say, strong trust and also a few first partners there. And you ask for local talents. Right now we have a few people in our team. They are located in the Asian region, not in Japan right now. So if there are people from Japan in the community, would be amazing if you contact us. Could be something which is interesting for the future. So just that you know, it's not only, as Harry said, about Germany, Netherlands, Europe, and also not only about Nigeria. We really have the universe, so to say, the entire world in scope. Yeah, but just it's important because what we learned in all our steps in the past, but also now, each and every market, for sure, there's a kind of trend or a blueprint idea, but at the end, you need to integrate local, really special things, so to say. And this is very important to act, as Harry said, with local talents and also with a team which is in that location. And this is what we learned. And therefore, it's not that quick that we can open market by market, right? We really need strong networks, acceleration programs, and then also community, means you, to realize that.
And by the way, this speaks for Japan. So first of all, the one or the other of you may know, I did my PhD in Japan. So I lived in Tokyo for 10 years. So I have a strong affiliation to it. But also one of our advisors, Alex Höppner, who's now the CEO of BitMEX, he had introduced us to a company when we were still with Daimler. And that company is Japan-based. It's a fairly big, so traded on both the Osaka Stock Exchange and the Tokyo Stock Exchange company. So it's a substantial company. And we have been in exchange with them and in interaction with them. And they are now, that we are going to Japan, they are now actively also assisting here from the background and providing their expertise. So here, in this case, we're going through business networks which are local, but also being successful, making it big in Japan, by the way, the same goes for China, would not work unless you have a partner who is on the ground. And right now it seems that we have an opening for Japan because it looks as if through Plug and Play, through their partner network, and also through this past connection, which we already brought with us, we might have enough connections and enough weight to actually get it off the ground. Because one thing I can tell you from experience, Japan is a juicy market. Once you've entered, it's very hard to enter. So getting in is the hard part. Once you're in, actually, because it's more stable, they don't, in Japan, generally speaking, it's all cliche, but the switching of business partners is not so fast. So you're not just going to be exchanged because you're $5 more expensive than the next one, because they value more than just the single dollar today. They go for long term. So once they have vetted you, once they like you, and once they trust you, then you tend to keep the relationship if you honor the trust. But on the other hand, trust is not something you can buy or you can just get. It needs to be earned. So it takes, by Western terms, it takes forever to establish a Japanese business relationship. But then once you have it, you're actually very stable in it, and you can work very strong on a very strong basing and a very strong foundation. Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for adding that. I move on with a further question in the chat, in the live chat. Fossa, you ask if it's right that the most important partners are all the parties which really strengthen the ecosystem. That's absolutely true. And I pick this question, add a sentence, and then we'll also link it to another question which you had. Yes, so really right now, as we said also last time, on the business side, and here we're on the business side, the growth of the ecosystem, onboarding of the parties is the most important step right now. And here, as you said, transport operators are the most important parties, especially when we speak about Netherlands, about Germany. That's true. And you ask also if we met during the event, if we met further new, so to say, parties. Yes, that was also great, that we could really increase relation here. And the second question was also, what was the feedback from all the people, right? When you come with such a bloXmove decentralized protocol idea. And this was really insane to see that, and also you have seen that blxm did or said such a quote, that the people are well educated when it comes to decentralized technology. So if Harry and I compare that to our time when we started to explain blockchain to people, especially you had such a pain explaining that to managers on different ends on B2B side, we are really beyond that state, and people understand the basic mechanisms, not the technology, but that's not important on a B2B side. Yeah, here, that's our sweet spot, but they understand the magic and the new ideas, especially when it comes to settlement. What does it mean for B2B relations when you think in such a decentralized network or ledger network? Therefore, thanks for asking that. It's a, I would say, huge improvement for us right now, because we can start discussion and negotiation with partners on a different level than maybe you, Harry, could in the past. And this may be a question in your direction, Harry, because here is exactly from Ismail such a question in the chat. Decentralized ledger protocol, what does it mean, if you have to explain that in an easy way?
Well, originally DLT, decentralized ledger technology, in bloXmove was basically used as a synonym. So because people felt that blockchain was not understandable to anybody in the business world, but they felt that the word ledger is well known. So the word ledger means book in the sense of bookkeeping. And so it's a decentralized way of bookkeeping. And if you think about what blockchain does, it more or less does that. It does a decentralized way of managing the money, because you transfer a coin and this is managed in a decentralized way. You don't have a bank involved or any of that sort. And then it became clear that there's a slight difference between what the normal person would call blockchain, an Ethereum or a Bitcoin or an Algorand or whatever, and that which is now becoming distributed ledger technology, which tends to apply to specifically Corda. So Corda is a DLT. It is actually based on the very same principles as Bitcoin. So for those of you who understand the tech, it's based on UTXO, so unspent transaction concept, but it is based on the fact that instead of using only a coin, which is basically described by a number of how many, by a quantity, and that's all that is managed within the Bitcoin network, it shifts what they call states. And a state then is something that you can roughly imagine as a full database record, which then undergoes changes. And these changes are equivalent to transferring the state from one person to another, to another, to another. And why is this then a distributed ledger? It's in the way it's used, because blockchain, Bitcoin especially, is raw cash. It is the law of possession. You have the coin, you have the coin. End of discussion. But in the real world, that is not how ownership is defined. Possession doesn't count. And here comes my example, which many of you have heard already. If I transfer now $100,000 from my bank account to your bank account, you have possession of $100,000, but you try to take ownership of that. Well, you're going to be a very unhappy person, because you're going to get all kinds of telephone calls. The money's going to get blocked. The police is probably going to come and ask you where the money comes from. So you're way not owning that money. You have a headache, and you will be happy when the money is gone. Because in the legal world in which we operate, there's something called ownership, and ownership is reflected in books. So no company counts its profit or its wealth by looking in the cash register and looking how many euros we have. That's peanuts for governments and for companies. It's peanuts. Believe me that. So the money is counted, the wealth is counted, and the profit is counted in books. Long story short, you need to do bookkeeping to transfer money. Nobody in the big scheme of things does major cash money transfers in cash. You book from the left side to the right side. So if somebody shifts $1 billion, they don't transfer cash. They do a bank transfer where here it's reduced and there it's added. And that was the whole storyline here. And for that, you always need to have two-sided bookkeeping. Because in the real world, and that is best understood by the example that I just gave you, if I transfer 100,000 into your bank account, why does the police come and visit you? And why will you not be able to keep that money? Because you don't have the first leg of the transaction. Meaning the first leg of the transaction, I have a contract and a deal with you where I deliver you a service, and that service costs X. And then based on that, you can transfer me X. Now we have a deal, and now I can receive that money legally. Everybody's satisfied. The taxman will come, will take their share. Everybody's more or less happy here. And distributed ledger focuses on blockchain decentralized mechanisms. Consensus is the key word here. It's a consensus base. It is a consensus among peer-to-peer nodes, but it doesn't transfer cash. It basically does real-time, fully consistent, consolidated, and reconciled bookkeeping. And that's in the word usage of it. That is how people, when they speak about DLT, that's what they usually mean. So it's an enterprise thinking of how do I manage real money, which is book money, because again, cash, it doesn't count in the enterprise world. And think about government budgets. Do you think they're sending paper notes or coins if once they manage the money they take from tax? Of course not. It's all book money. So that is how you need to understand that from the enterprise and the government world, that's how real money is being managed.
Absolutely. And that's really the sweet spot, especially in mobility ecosystems or energy ecosystems, where you have also smaller amounts. As Harry said, if you have a ton of administration hassle for, I don't know, $1.50 for a scooter ride, it makes no sense. And if we think that decentralized exactly ledger technology, which you described here, in such ecosystems, it's really hyper efficiency. And this is why they are so interested. And now we can link that to one of your next questions.
By the way, this is also why, I mean, you can also mention SAP here. We have been in the SAP. I mean, most people here would know SAP. They are the accounting software company of the universe. And they are exactly working with us, because they are also now, they are doing the accounting as it's done now, but they are waking up to the fact this is actually, if well done, this is much more efficient, and efficient goes both ways. If good efficiency is where your customer pays less and you make profit. Now that is efficiency, right? Efficiency is both. Your customer ends up paying less, but you still make profit. And that is possible because blockchain and distributed ledger is so efficient. So this is something which is crucial for those who are in the one leg in the business, in the real enterprise business, and one leg in the crypto world. It doesn't concern the pure crypto side of things. If you pure crypto metaverse, you don't need to know what a distributed ledger is. You will never touch it. It's not going to concern you. But if you have books which are audited, where you got audit reports, where you got investor reports, where you possibly need to publish year-end reports for your investors and the taxman, etc., then if you want to use blockchain, you will have to think about how do I get what's on that blockchain into my books, because the only way I can legalize my money is through my books and not by showing I have X amount of USDC.
Absolutely. Yeah. And now, related to your questions, let's give a few updates on the partnerships right now. I read several times Flixbus in the chat. Yes, it's still warm, let's call it like that, or still hot. The issue, and I think we explained that also the last times, was that Flixbus had really, really intense topics on their agenda, you know, from the deal they did with the American Greyhound company and how intense it is to merge and mix, so to say, and integrate such big IT systems and landscapes. You can imagine this really needed all resources on IT end. This was one reason. Then for sure, you know about the sad situation in Europe with the war And also here, Flixbus was really active, or is really active, in sending all the buses to the country and supporting. So again, it was a topic which we had not, it was not related to our, so to say, power, and we needed to postpone starts. But now we have the agreement that the summertime will be our execution time. So this is really amazing, and we're looking forward to that. And for sure, guys, you are the first people. You will get updates very soon. And here, maybe the link to the second question, an update. Maybe Harry, you can give it or say a few words about that, about our 50 Hertz Energy Web collaboration, and what is status here? When is there a live test planned? Maybe you can say a few words about that.
Yes, there is an internal behind closed door live test, live demonstration planned for June. That will, I'm not sure whether we will be allowed to communicate more about this, but we are essentially at the level where the first POC for the first proof of concept is done and coded, and it works. So it's essentially based on customers who have a decentralized identity. They sign a contract, which is then expressed as a verified credential. And with that, they can go to any of the charging stations in the network and use their contract independently of who this charging station is connected to charge green energy into their electric car. That's in a nutshell the use case, and that is coded, and that is approaching now last sprint and will be internally demonstrated to the partners. Lichtblick, we are allowed to use their name now. Lichtblick, which is a power provider in the north of Germany, the Energy Web Foundation, anyway, we've mentioned those a few times, and 50 Hertz themselves. And based on that, there will be a new setup and a new project with the scope. Remember that the long-term vision of this cooperation is still flexibility, which is a 5-year story. It's not coming tomorrow. So it concerns how you use storage from the battery in the car in order to balance local grids or national grids. And that is actually the long-term collaboration here. And so I expect that there will be an internal delivery sometime in the next 1 to 2 months. Then there's probably going to be a summer break. And then there's at the end of the summer, there will probably be a new scope where we go towards an intermediate step towards flexibility. In either case, we are in constant discussions with the Energy Web colleagues. Being a validator node, we actually have a constant reporting also requirement with them about what we do with them. And through our Energy Web affiliation, we will also report our future project plans with the Energy Web, where we're having our first discussions on the scope of that next week with the colleagues from the mobility team in the Energy Web Foundation.
Absolutely. And the teams, and also both CTOs, so Energy Web and also you, Harry, we created an interview and did an interview. So also this text will come very soon with a bit more detail and longer story, and not only the partnership announcement, which you have seen a few months ago. Cool. Thanks for also updating here. Yeah, I would say with having an eye on the watch, right? It's already almost 7 o'clock in Germany. I guess also for some people quite late here. So thanks again for joining this session. I would say as last question, Harry, tease us. What can we tease when it comes to a few more collaboration or also technology steps?
Well, I already hinted at the smart bridge with the burning. That I believe will make a major difference in many ways. In general, on the investor portal side, there is at least 2 more cycles of products coming there. Then there will be 3 major milestones, which are very closely connected to each other. First among them, Nigeria, we've been talking about that a lot, but there is in scope, similar go-to-market for Europe, which will be different transport operators, but it will also be finally a go live where through one of our partner companies, we will roll out the user front ends so users can interact with transport operators who are connected to the bloXmove platform. And that should plus minus go, the first pilot should go live more or less around the same time that that bloXmove Nigeria goes live. And an interesting part is, and we're back to the roots a little bit, what we're doing in Mittweida, which is this town, very beautiful, by the way, which very few people know, but which is actually a hotspot of blockchain technology in Germany, where the specific twist is, and this takes us right back to what we did originally in Daimler with the hardware wallet, that the focus is also on the end-to-end crypto. So the scooters and the bicycles that will be developed and used within the Mittweida share mobility for all projects, they are going to be fully enabled by using a hardware wallet, which essentially means it's a blockchain client on wheels. So it can interact with the network, just like you interact with the networks with MetaMask. So, and and you can interact with it just like through MetaMask. So you can open and close it through end-to-end blockchain transaction, which opens completely new scenarios about man-to-machine and end-to-end IoT-based business models. Very much now, you can essentially throw vehicles on the ground in a city, and basically, because if they're active blockchain clients, you can basically leave the business to them, because the business is handled on the blockchain level. You don't need to supervise much. You need to supervise them physically, but in terms of money, etc., it can handle on its own. And this is the future. It will take years for this to come, but blockchain-enabled vehicles, blockchain-enabled charging stations, those I see coming soon, by the way, through the open charging network eventually. Blockchain-enabled smart locks. Remember Slockit, the company with the big DAO with Ethereum? Well, Slockit came out of Mittweida. And Slockit, SLOCK stands for smart lock. So anything that's got a smart lock in the future, I believe a big part of that is going to be blockchain clients, because what is easier than to run a smart lock, be it on a container, be it on a capsule hotel, be it on a hotel, be it on a smart office, then running that smart lock precisely with a blockchain client. So after you have paid your ticket and after you have identified yourself, everything gets verified, and the lock opens after it's received its fair share of money or tokens. So this is what we're focusing on with Mittweida. Here, the final go live is at the end of the year. We believe this project will grow substantially. There's you know more about this, Sophia, in the details, but we are applying for a major research fund here together with our partners from the German government. And this is where industrial IoT and blockchain come together in the very best way possible. And because it's scooters that are the devices in this case, it's really rolling, decentralized IoT-based mobility. So those are the three things I would you will hear more from us as we move along on that.
Absolutely. And all the other topics which you know already, so that we are right now in the development of mobility budget solutions and so on. This is becoming more and more to really specific, really concrete products, and this is amazing. But for sure, we tell you all the stories and also the announcement around that when it's mature enough, and we have also the partner agreement, right? We need to wait for that, as we said. Cool. Then I would say with saying that, and also I double check the chat. I think nothing is super urgent. Thank you very much for answering or sending all the questions up front. Next month, again, we will have round 5 for the tech debate. And since then, definitely follow us via our channels, Telegram, Twitter, wherever you are, and which channel you like. And interact with us. It's not necessary that you wait for this session here once per month. So whenever you have something or have questions, as you did already, let's move on with that. We really like your engagement and interaction. I would say thank you, right? Harry, maybe a final sentence or also something you want to add. Otherwise, we're done.
What I want to add is I think the first harvest will come at harvest time, which is, at least in Europe, usually around September. So around September, everything we have been working on and are working on will start to come to fruition. So, and again, I've said this many times, and I'll say it again because it needs to be repeating. And it needs to be repeating because we all know what the token price is. I'm not here to advise you on investment, but we are looking at the same price, so that much is known. So we are aware of the token price, obviously, and we are aware which shape that curve has. But the fact of the matter is this is a long game. So personally, I am not concerned. I can tell you that. Because yes, it's lower now, much lower than some people would like. As far as I'm concerned, it's just low. And it will work. We will see the results of what we do once we go to market in Nigeria, in Europe. The first companies embrace this, because then utility will start to pick up. We will also see it, and that relates back to the smart bridge. Once we start actively burning tokens to take them out of circulation, there will also be a pickup here. So if anybody is in the mode where they need to see returns in the next 1 or 2 weeks, then my friendly advice is get out of bloXmove, cut your losses. This is not a token that will make you happy in the next 1 or 2 weeks, and we have no claim to do so. And we also would not like to be confronted with having raised those expectations. If, however, you do believe in the vision that we have, and you have the patience and the amount of extra, anyway, you should only ever put anything into the token world which is extra for you, and you have a horizon of 2 to 3 years, then you will start seeing the results of what we do roughly around harvest time, which is September this year. And from then on, it'll be one after the other. That's my last words in this debate. And I will continue to repeat this because, of course, we see the feedback from a lot of people getting very nervous here. And this is just how it is. And this is not a meme coin. This is not a DeFi protocol. And this is also not an NFT smart ape protocol. So it has different behavior from those tokens. If you want to compare us, think about what would it take for you to invest into Energy Web? What would it take for you to invest into Ocean? What would it take for you to invest into Fetch? Not comparing us directly, but in mindset, because these are all tokens that are in it for the long run, that have an industrial background behind them, and that apply their technology to actual business cases, foregoing the very fast hype cycle that sometimes makes people very, very happy in the crypto world.
Absolutely. I was saying that maybe also prepare, because next month is our first birthday month. Just if you want to celebrate with us in June, it's 1 year of bloXmove, so be prepared for that. We have some nice activities planned and also communication for sure, just as final sentence. So thank you very much, guys. Enjoy evening, day, wherever you are around the globe. And it's amazing to have this exchange with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sophia, and thanks for all the active participants who contributed with questions. And anyway, you can find us in the Telegram groups. At least I am in there after the debate, at least for another half hour if there's follow-ups needed. And obviously on Twitter, we're also quite active. That's more on Sophia's side of things. But feel free to reach out directly. You know where to find us.
Cool. Bye-bye.
Bye.